LEGO Star Wars Midi-Scale is back. But what's next? Hey everyone, welcome back to Daily Weekly Builds for another video. Today I'm going to be going through my top 5 ideas for the next sets that LEGO could make into Midi-Scale sets. Now obviously recently we've had the return of Midi-Scale with the Executor Super Star Destroyer, a set which I think looks amazing. I think Midi-Scale is a really cool kind of sub-theme for LEGO Star Wars, and I'd love to see more. So without further ado, let's get into my list for the top 5 Midi-Scale sets I want to see. So to start off this list, coming in at number 5 is the Ghost from Star Wars Rebels. Now in my mind this would be, again, a Midi-Scale set, but also you could have like a micro-scale kind of detachable Phantom, as obviously that was a big part of the Rebel show and the Ghost ship itself. And I know we're a bit kind of far out from when Rebels was on, but we're getting Ahsoka soon and we're getting pretty much half of the Rebels cast back again. And I'd just love to see the ship, and I think it would tie in really well with that show, and you know, it would give us people who didn't manage to get the original Ghost something. You know, it's a set that goes for quite a lot of money now, and I didn't pick up the original, so having a Midi-Scale version of this ship would be incredible. Now whether they use the Phantom 1 or the Phantom 2, I don't really care. I just would love kind of that as a sort of feature where you could just detach the Phantom from the back of the Ghost, as we saw in Rebels. Coming in at number 4, I would love to see the Gazanti class cruiser with maybe some micro-scale AT-ATs. Now we've seen this cruiser before in a variety of different media. I believe we've seen that in Rebels, and we might have seen it in The Mandalorian too. And this ship is usually used for kind of transporting TIE fighters and AT-ATs, and this would be a great chance for us to maybe get 2, 3, 4 mini AT-ATs, and I'm sure they could come up with a great design that's pretty simple and would fit in nicely with this. Personally, I think seeing some of all these lesser known kind of Imperial ships in Midi-Scale would be really cool and would draw a lot more attention to kind of more ships in the Imperial kind of arsenal rather than just your typical Death Stars and your Star Destroyers. However, I'm going to be the first one to say I think this is probably one of the most least likely that they will do on this list, but again, this is just kind of my wish list of things I would like to see. Coming in at number 3 would be the Invisible Hand with maybe Anakin and Obi-Wan's Jedi Interceptors. It's kind of micro-scale builds from Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Do it.
Now, although I've placed this set kind of in the mid-range on this list, it's probably one of the ones that I'm not too bothered if it didn't get made, as I think there are actually better Separatist ships that they could make rather than just the Invisible Hand. But I think this would be a great chance for us to get kind of mini-scale Jedi Interceptors, and I know I've talked a lot about kind of the mini-scale side builds on this, but they're a big part of these sets for me. I think they're really cool. And the Invisible Hand, it is a cool design, and it'd be really interesting to see how LEGO pulled that off at that scale. But they managed to do a good job with the Nebulon B frigate, so it does kind of just get into my head that they can pretty much do anything. And maybe they could even include a feature where you could split the ship in half and have the kind of front portion, you know, you could pretend that it's crashing onto Coruscant. But again, even though the set is kind of in the mid-scale on this list, it's not one of my most desired. I think there are definitely cooler ships that they could make. But speaking of cooler Separatist ships, coming in at number 2 for me is the Malevolence from Star Wars The Clone Wars. Now, if you haven't seen Star Wars The Clone Wars, this was basically a big like Separatist ship, had a giant laser on the side, and it's kind of like a very proto Death Star type thing, and it's a really cool design, and I think this set is pretty much long overdue for kind of LEGO representation. I'm not too sure if we've got a playset. We might have. If we did, I'll pop a picture up on the screen now. But this would be a really cool way to maybe get some like micro-scale vulture droids or something like that. And I just feel as though this set would be a great companion piece to the set that's coming at number 1 on the list. And coming in at number 1 on my top 5 most wanted Midi-Scale sets is, of course, the Venator Star Destroyer. Now, the Venator is a set that's been sorely overlooked by LEGO for a long time, And we've got a rumor that apparently we might be getting a UCS set of the Venator this year, which is very exciting. This would be a great kind of like companion set. Now, whether or not they'd want to release 2 Venators at the same time, it's up for debate. But, you know, if you don't want to go out and spend, you know, the £400, £500, £600 that a UCS Venator would cost, a Midi-Scale version would be great. Honestly, I'm a massive fan of the Clone Wars and just that kind of pre-Empire kind of era of Star Wars in general. So I would love to see the Venator, and I would love to maybe see this come with a mini Republic gunship, because Republic gunship, we had a UCS set for that, so getting a tiny little version of that would be really cool. And yeah, this is just something that I would love to see. And also, we are potentially getting a brand new Republic gunship this year. Now that's sort of rumored to be sort of a specialized different version of the gunship. Can't remember exactly what one, but it's not meant to be your kind of standard white, red and blue and gold and whatever Republic gunship that we're used to. But the Venator is just a really cool design, and it'd be really interesting to see how LEGO kind of does that shape, because unlike the Star Destroyer, it's not just a very simple triangle. There's a lot of kind of like indentations in the design, and it'd be really cool to see how LEGO pulls that off. Venator is one of my favourite Star Wars ships of all time, and I think it would just look amazing at Midi-Scale, especially if they went for kind of like a dark red and light bluish grey kind of colour scheme, which I imagine they would do. So there we have it. That is my pick for the top 5 Midi-Scale Star Wars sets that I would love to see released. Midi-Scale is such a cool kind of sub-theme, and I'm a big fan of just LEGO display models. I'll be honest, I'm not like massive into minifigures and things like that. I like my LEGO to be a display model, and that's obviously come just from growing up. Obviously, when I was a kid, I loved play sets, I loved playing with minifigures and things like that. As I've gotten older, I just want stuff that looks really cool on a shelf, and Midi-Scale is definitely kind of fitting into that kind of genre. And obviously, to go along with that, the sets aren't too ridiculously expensive. They are still overpriced. I mean, it's LEGO. There isn't a LEGO set on the market that isn't overpriced. But I do think these would be really great additions to a hopefully revived Midi-Scale collection. So there we have it. What did you think of this list? What would you like to see? I'm really curious to see your kind of thoughts and opinions, and just see what kind of ships you want to see, because there's so many in Star Wars, and you know, there's something for everyone. So thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good day. Bye bye.